An older man once told a story about the most important $40,000 he ever gave away. Not because of the money, but because of what almost happened if he had waited. It was 2004. His son was 31 years old. He had a young child at home, a mortgage that was keeping him awake at night, and a business idea he had been carrying in his head for 3 years. The son never asked for money, but the father had it. And like most people, he had a careful plan for what to do with it. He was going to leave it to his son after he died. What he didn't realize yet was that waiting might have been the most expensive mistake of his life. For most of his life, the man believed the same thing many people believe about money. You earn it, you protect it, you grow it, and one day, when your life is finished, you pass it on. That's the traditional plan. Work hard, save carefully, leave something behind for the people you love. And to be fair, there is a lot of love inside that plan. But after many years, the man realized something about it that nobody had ever explained to him before. There is a blind spot in that plan. Because when money is given after you die, you are not there to see what it does. You cannot watch it land. You cannot explain why you gave it. You cannot tell the story that makes the gift meaningful. You simply disappear, and the money arrives later. In 2004, the man found himself sitting at the kitchen table thinking about his son. 31 years old, a good worker, a careful father, but clearly carrying something bigger than his current job could hold. For 3 years, he had been talking about the same business idea. Not loudly, not desperately, just quietly returning to it again and again. The father knew the numbers. He knew $40,000 would change things. But he also knew the plan. The money was meant to stay where it was, protected, growing, waiting to become part of an inheritance someday. And he almost followed that plan. Almost. Years later, when the man tried to explain why that moment mattered so much, he used a phrase he had come to believe deeply in. He called it the generosity window. The generosity window is a period in life when two things are true at the same time. You have something you could give, and you are still here to give it. To look someone in the eye, to explain why it matters, to see what happens next. That window does not stay open forever. For many people, it opens somewhere in their 50s or 60s, sometimes earlier, but eventually it closes, and many people only realize that after the moment has already passed. The man likes to explain this idea with a simple comparison. Imagine giving your child $10,000. If that money arrives when they are 30 years old, it lands in a very specific chapter of life. They might use it to start something, fix something, buy time, or take a risk they otherwise couldn't afford. But if that same $10,000 arrives 30 years later, after careers have been chosen, homes purchased, and risks avoided, its power is completely different. The value of a gift is not only the amount, it is also the moment. A dollar given at the right time can change a life. The same dollar given too late might only change a bank balance. In June of 2004, the man finally made a decision. He invited his son to sit down at the kitchen table. Before handing him the check, he told him where the money came from. 10 years of work he had done in his 40s, work he was proud of. Then he said something his son did not expect. He said, "I'm not giving this to rescue you. I'm giving it because I want to be part of the beginning." His son used that money to build the business he had been imagining, and the business is still running today.
But when the father thinks about that moment now, the money is not the most important part. The conversation is, because if that same $40,000 had simply appeared in a will, none of that story would exist. The money would arrive, but the meaning would disappear.
Over time, the man began to see that money was only one part of the generosity window. There are other gifts that can only be given while you are still here. The first is a financial gift, with context. Not just money, but the story behind it. The second is time, your presence, a long conversation, an afternoon spent paying attention to someone who matters. The third is shared experience, a trip taken together, a meal cooked side by side, a memory that exists nowhere except in the people who lived it. And the fourth is wisdom, the lessons you learned the hard way, passed directly from one life to another. These gifts cannot be transferred through paperwork. They require your voice.
The man often compares two families he once knew. The first followed the traditional plan. Everything was saved for after. The father worked hard, built a careful estate, and left it behind when he passed away. But by the time his children received the inheritance, the moments when that money might have changed their lives had already passed. One daughter had taken a job she didn't really want. One son had passed on a piece of land he could no longer afford. The second family did something different. When the father turned 70, he sat down with each of his children and asked a simple question. What do you need right now that I could help with? Not later, not someday, right now. And the answers surprised him. He helped where he could, and he lived long enough to see what those decisions became.
Eventually, the man turned this idea into something simple and practical. He calls it the Living Legacy Plan. It's built around 4 questions. First, what resources do you have that could help someone today? Second, who in your life might benefit from them right now? Third, what conversation should come with the gift? Because the story behind a gift often matters as much as the gift itself. And finally, how long is your generosity window realistically open? Most people never ask that question, but time asks it quietly every year.
When the man thinks about 2004 now, he sometimes realizes how close he came to waiting. Waiting for the perfect moment. Waiting for the safer plan. Waiting for someday. But someone once asked him a question he has never forgotten. When exactly are you planning to give it to him? And he answered the way many people do. Later. And the reply was simple. What is he supposed to do until then? That question changed everything. Because the people we love are living their lives right now. They are making decisions right now. Taking risks right now. We are not characters in their distant future. We are characters in their present. And the generosity window is open. Right now.
If this story made you think, give the video a thumbs up, subscribe, and share it with someone who might need to hear it.